Thanks for joining us for this Earth 8 special. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis. Here at CBS 8, we want to educate our viewers on environmental impacts happening around San Diego County and share ways you can help out. Let's begin with Nurdles. You may not have heard of them, but you've probably seen them. They're plastic pellets often found mixed in sand at our beaches, and they're really tiny, but they're leading to a big problem for our ecosystem. I went to find out what's being done to tackle this global hazard. I'm here on the pathway near the railroad tracks in Encinitas, and that's exactly where I found these. You're talking Nurdles. It's a tiny plastic waste that's making its way from the tracks all the way to our ocean, and unfortunately contributing to a larger pollutant problem that we have.
Nurdles sitting on the beach.
And that's just one of many hiding in plain sight. These tiny plastic balls have been found littering our coastline.
It's the pre-production pellet of all plastic that is out there. So manufacturers then melt these Nurdles or pellets into every plastic product that you see out there. Isn't that so sad? And you think this is on the beach as well.
Nurdles are transported across the globe by the chemical industry to plastic manufacturers.
Look how many you found. Well,
Claire, who was already working to stop nurdle pollution in South Africa, found them at our local beaches along with her son after moving to San Diego about 3 years ago. She estimates roughly trillions of these pellets have been found locally.
so you'll see them all along here. So they're flying from the trains.
Just on our short walk, we found a large number of them.
I just found 3 while we're standing right here.
Data collected from plastic waste organizations estimate 230 billion kilos, roughly 507 billion pounds of plastic nurdles enter our seas and oceans annually.
Fish mistake them for eggs or food, and they clog up their systems, they starve, and marine life are eating them and dying and starving, and then we eat the fish.
Claire started Litter for Tokens in South Africa and has expanded to Trash for Tokens in North and South America to increase awareness about the harms of litter and plastic pollution, especially nurdles.
It's just a nasty little plastic nugget that shouldn't be in the environment.
Claire has teamed up with Mark O'Connor, a lead on the Rise Above Plastics program for Surfrider San Diego County. He always thought nurdles were only polluting our beaches from offshore spills.
They located them in our own backyard on the rail system. They're falling off. Their rails go over lagoons where they go right in the water, get out to the ocean, roadways, right into storm drains, out in the water.
Surfrider Foundation is encouraging members and supporters to call and email their federal elected officials to support the Plastic Pellet Free Waters Act. The EPA has to issue the final rule to prohibit the way plastic pellets are discharged so that they don't make it into the waters of the United States.
It's heartbreaking.
These tiny pellets are highly toxic because they have hazardous chemicals attached to them. The size, plastic makeup, and toxicity of these pellets are an environmental threat, even when they're disposed of in landfills.
I've seen him just sitting on the sand.
Claire is actively working with the United Nations and International Maritime Organization to get all countries to amend the International Maritime Dangerous Goods Code, so nurdles are shipped below deck in more secure containers and labeled as hazardous material.
If the actual amendment of the code doesn't happen, it'll continue to leak in these different areas.
The team at Trash for Tokens also encourages you to get involved in reducing nurdles in our county.
They're a unique device. They have a unique code on them. So
also known as mermaid tears, Claire created a mermaid tear catcher.
So when you find the actual mermaid tears, you can log on to our website and log the geographic location where you find those mermaid tears. They're very toxic, so always wash your hands after you find the nurdles. Place them into jars or envelopes. You can post them back to our foundation, but please don't put them back in the trash.
Just one more way to keep our county's ecosystem and our bodies free from microplastics. For CBS 8, I'm Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis.
All right, we have also covered many stories about recycling here on our Earth 8 reports, and we learn more and more every single time. So we decided that this time we really wanted to get into those dirty details of what happens with your trash. CBS 8's Neda Ranpour went for a ride along with the City of San Diego's trash services and shares what she found.
To understand recycling, we thought we should get in the trucks and go with the drivers who are tasked with doing the hard work. So we hopped in with sanitation driver Jared Nunez. First thing, we had to know what his pet peeves are.
When the cans are overflowing, a lot of times it makes a mess.
So don't be that household. Be sure the lid closes. If not, your trash and recyclables could go flying, and someone like Jared will have to try to chase it all down.
We got, around 2,000 stops a day. If it's already out, ready for us to grab, it makes it easier, makes everything go smoother.
When Jared's truck gets full, he brings it here to Allen Company Recycling Center. This is one of the recycling centers the city of San Diego relies on to sort out materials so they can then sell them to whoever will buy and recycle them. First, as GM Gary McGrath shows us, the load leveler smooths out the large loads.
When it first comes over, there's a glass breaker, takes out all the glass. Then the material goes up and over, and it gets separated. Large pieces go up over to the left.
An optical machine helps sort. Then a magnetic pad.
At the very end, the manual is sorting. They're sorting out the milk jugs from the detergent bottles, from the aluminum cans.
But these guys right here, what are they doing?
They're sorting out the trash.
I want you to take a close look at this entire operation. These are people who are going through your trash to determine what should and should not continue through these conveyor belts. Every time you throw away a piece of plastic like this, they have to pick these out individually. And if there are too many, it clogs things up and they all have to stop.
Other items that are not okay to put in your blue bin: pipes, wood, pots and pans, electric wiring, and clothes. But the worst thing you can do, attempt to recycle lithium-ion batteries.
As soon as they get compacted, they burst into flames.
Laptop and cell phone batteries are exploding at recycling centers and on trucks nationwide.
And you've had fires here, too, because of it?
We've had fires here because of it.
Same goes for propane tanks. Workers are not only in loud, dirty conditions, but now their lives can be put in danger due to people's wish cycling habits.
It's really important to try to limit the amount of contamination that ends up going into your blue bin. In general, if you're in doubt, it's best to just throw it out.
When it comes to plastic, the harder plastics have the best shot at making it. Plastic loses quality when melted down.
If you can crinkle it into your palm or it doesn't hold its shape, you want to put that in your trash bin.
And if you grab that laundry detergent because you like the bright orange or blue hues, know that now someone has to make sure it's stacked with other plastics of the same color. So clear is best. Glass and aluminum can be recycled over and over again.
Aluminum is actually one of the best materials out there because it can be infinitely recycled.
And you'll notice all this cardboard. Simply break down those boxes at home and they'll have a good chance at being recycled too. The goal here is to lessen the load at landfills and give old, used materials the chance to become new again. For Earth 8, I'm Neda Iranpour.
Wow, that was really informative. And so is this. It's estimated the average piece of clothing is worn 7 to 10 times before it's tossed. But that figure has changed dramatically in the past 15 years because of our throwaway society and so-called fast fashion. And that is leading to a huge increase in textiles ending up in landfills. California lawmakers passed a law that took effect this year to address that issue. And CBS 8's Sean Stiles, he has more.
Textile waste ending up in landfills is a huge problem. So at the end of 2024 here in California, Senate Bill 707 was signed, which makes manufacturers start to put together a plan to take care of their textiles that are left behind, which is already happening in resale shops like this at Thrifty Threads in Encinitas. SB 707 is focused on giving clothes an extended life and use, which is a big part of why Maddie Hoffman and Elise Parker work at Thrifty Threads.
So I think it's super helpful to not only our environment and like future generations as well as ours, but also making sure that fashion is still something that's unique and it's fun for everyone, and it's not necessarily just like buy and click.
Providing like affordable clothes for people rather than having it end up somewhere that is just going to be wasted or used as, you know, just taking up space in a landfill somewhere. Providing these for people at a cheap, like affordable price so that they can have the latest trends but still feel good about it.
Known as the Responsible Textile Recovery Act, it is requiring certain producers of apparel and textile products to establish a producer responsibility organization that will fund programs in California for reuse, repair, and recycling. The reason for 707 is that it's estimated in 2021, 1.2 million tons of unused textiles were dumped into landfills here in California.
We want people to rethink their use.
Jessica Toth is the executive director at the Solano Center and says that is a huge problem.
When it goes to the landfill, it off-gasses, it's filling up our landfills, that is the textile waste, but in addition, it off-gasses. Any organic material creates methane, which is a very potent greenhouse gas.
Just by their nature, landfills are big polluters with off-gassing, and textiles are quickly rising to the top.
Organic material in the landfill is the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases. And of that, food waste is the largest portion, but the one that's growing at the fastest rate is clothing.
By 2026, the select clothing and textile producers will have to start to have collection stations in place to repurpose their products and extending their usefulness.
And if we don't keep it out of the landfill, again, we're running out of capacity in our landfills and we're creating greenhouse gases.
The Solano Center is showing people how they can make a difference now with the Zero Waste Textile Expo.
There's one coming up in March where we educate people about fast fashion. We have an opportunity for them to work with a seamstress or a sewer to have it fixed if there's a problem. And then also we have a clothing swap.
Last year's event had 83% of the items brought in repurposed. This year, it's on March 23rd, and I'll put a link on our web story. Senate Bill 707 goes into full effect in 2028, but you can start to do your part right now by shopping in resale shops like this, Thrifty Threads in Encinitas, and keep that unwanted clothes from ending up in the landfill. Sean Stiles, Earth 8.
Interesting fact, after seeing Sean's story, that's actually when I started thrifting a lot more. Coming up, we will share how a local nonprofit is working to help reduce the soft plastic waste that doesn't belong in your blue bin. Welcome back. More than 300 million pounds of plastic packaging is produced in the world every year. And well, a lot of it is found in our oceans. That inspired a San Diegan to create a one-of-a-kind nonprofit to help reduce plastic waste here at home. In this Earth 8 report, I went to a beach of a different kind. Soft plastic like this does not belong in your blue recycling bin. And once it makes it to the recycling facility, it often ends up in a landfill because it cannot be recycled. But there is a local nonprofit that is collecting those soft plastics and helping to bring new life to them so it doesn't end up in our community. Let's explore Plastic Beach.
It's the clothing wrap that we see our clothing hanging in the store ready to try on. A lot of us don't understand that it comes to the store wrapped in those plastic bags. We're just hearing conversation about that one grocery bag that we walk out the store with. For that one grocery bag, there are thousands of bags that we never see.
After watching large amounts of plastic waste washing up at his warehouse job, Matthew combined his passion for helping the environment and his love of the band Gorillaz into this local nonprofit about 5 years ago. Named after their 2014 album, Plastic Beach is an avenue for local businesses to get rid of soft plastic packaging.
We are creeping up on 100,000 pounds collected and recycled. And that's a lot because I want to just explain to you that a bag this big, so basically a 40-gallon big, large trash bag, only weighs about 5 pounds.
In the case of soft plastics, large amounts of it will waste away in landfills. Oftentimes, it gets into our waterways and out to our ocean. Plastic can break down, but it's still present in the form of microplastics, and those make their way into our bodies.
We carry around a credit card's worth of plastic in us every year, and that's where it's coming from. Most of it is coming from the food that we're consuming and our environment.
They are looking for more businesses and individuals to expand their collection services. They currently work with over 35 businesses.
Can I give you a hand with this?
Yeah, thanks.
The Pier Project Brewery and Tap Room in Vista is on board with Matthew's mission.
Sustainability is really important to us at Pier Project. Anything that we can do to keep plastic out of our waterways and out of landfills is a win for us.
Rolling up in an EV van, Plastic Beach will come to your small business or corporation for the collection of all grades of soft plastics. They will bring them back to their warehouse and compress it down in a baler because plastic expands and holds volume. Wires help keep it together, and the bales are ready to be stored, collected, transported, and even downcycled, which means manufactured into a product.
We are partnering with these American companies, and they're making decking, composite lumber, even asphalt, so we can make our roads out of plastic. And the benefit is it locks the plastic away for the next 20 or 30 years.
Plastic Beach received an award from the California Product Stewardship Council for their collection efforts. Matthew stresses that we need to build value in the collection part of soft plastics. Through collaborations with organizations like Surfrider San Diego, they want to appeal to local and state government to reduce the sales of single-use plastic and advocate for more alternatives.
We can recycle what is being produced. They can reduce the plastic footprint of the packaging out there, and then hopefully at some point in the future there'll be less and less and less, and we'll have built out a really good model of how to deal with what is coming out.
The ultimate goal? Reducing soft plastic waste enough in our environment that they go out of business. For CBS 8, I'm Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis.
I also love to report that they're starting to get more attention with Plastic Beach and even on a national level. So congratulations to them, and hopefully that mission continues. And we've seen our fair share of warmer than usual days here in the county. With our summer months and dry season right around the corner, our hot highs are not only tough on us, they also put a lot of stress on the plants around our home. Meteorologist Sean Stiles shares with us things you can do to help your landscape survive and thrive in the heat.
July now looks to be the hottest month ever on the planet. And here in San Diego, July Fry was cooking plants. So we went to Walter Anderson to talk to an expert how to protect your landscape investment.
Waiting until plants are begging for water is a problem. Don't wait for them to be wilting and drought stressed.
David Ross is the senior manager at Walter Anderson's nursery in Poway.
We had the greatest winter that I ever remember, and the plants were thriving on all of that clean water that they got. But it's been months since we've had some real rain.
Combine that with the heat waves we've been seeing, and landscapes are taking a beating. Ross says if you're using drip irrigation, it's probably not enough.
So when you are watering with a drip system, you have to figure whatever size basin you're trying to fill, the drippers have to be on long enough to maybe water a 2 or 3 foot diameter circle down a foot.
Watering ahead will help your plants beat the heat.
If you soak them well, most plants that are established, that have been in the ground for more than 2 summers, will only need to be watered once or 1.5 times per week.
Of course, if a plant is showing signs of stress or wilting, water it. But Ross has a time of day he prefers to water.
I like to water early in the morning so things dry out during the day. Other people prefer to water overnight, and that can encourage mildew and fungus because the foliage stays wet all night.
Water is expensive here in San Diego, so here are 3 tips to save.
This is the biggest thing, the most important thing you can do to reduce water use and make your plants healthy and successful. Buying a bag of wood chips.
Mulch can reduce the amount of water needed by 50%, and when it breaks down, it adds nutrients to the soil. Here are some other signs your plants are suffering.
Sago palms are very direct in telling you they aren't getting enough water or they're getting too much sun. And it starts here with the portion of the leaf that is getting the most intense sun starts to turn yellow, and then it'll turn brown after it's prolonged drought stress.
For lawns, it's all about how you water.
Bermuda can get away with 1 good deep watering per week. Tall fescues should only need 2 good waterings per week.
But if water is running off your lawn, try using a penetrant that will relieve surface tension.
And water that in, and that'll open up the soil so the water will go down deeper so you aren't constantly watering.
And for those that have a potted garden, your plants could be made in the shade.
Shade cloth. This is not the frost cloth for winter, but it's shade cloth. And if you just drape this across your plants, this is 50% shade, it's going to reduce the amount of sun exposure, which is going to reduce the stress on the plants and the amount of water they're going to use, which does make a huge difference And sun plants will take 50% shade, and shade plants will take 50% sun.
One of the tips I like the best from Ross is pay attention to what your garden looks like when it's healthy. So when it does start to stress, you can take the steps to prevent damage. Sean Stiles, Earth 8.
Thanks, Sean. Still ahead, new research is shedding light on an alarming loss in biodiversity amongst animals. Those details, they're after the break. Welcome back. New research published in the journal Nature is shedding light on the alarming loss of biodiversity amongst animals in the wild. CBS 8's Evan Noorani breaks down why this is happening and what we can do about it in an Earth 8 report.
It's the first comprehensive global analysis of genetic diversity, and it's not showing good news. Researchers found that biodiversity in 2/3 of animals and plants around the globe was declining.
Well, we know that genetic diversity is what enables populations and species to adapt to future changes in their environment. So whether that may be a new disease coming through or a heat wave or some other kind of change in the environment. And if a population has lost its genetic diversity, then it's lost that capacity to adapt and it's lost that resilience.
Researchers examined data from the fur and stool of 628 species between 1985 and 2019 and found that the decline in diversity could affect an animal's ability to adapt to future environmental changes and points to a stronger chance of extinction.
A lot of the causes of a loss of genetic diversity and a lot of causes of loss of species resilience are many of the same things that you would be familiar with that are causing a loss of biodiversity in general. So it is a loss of habitat as a result of human activities, changing habitat and changing landscapes. Things like increasing natural disasters like the major bushfires that we've seen in Australia in recent years, new diseases emerging, and so on.
Off you go, little fellow.
Higher genetic diversity, on the other hand, means there's a greater chance that a species will endure, according to Dr. Sylvia Perez-Espona, a co-author of the study in Nature.
When you lose genetic diversity, you lose this potential. And we don't know, sometimes this loss of diversity obviously sometimes can be at random because some individuals will die and they won't be able to pass these favorable genes. But if you have enough genetic diversity, there's more potential for the populations to be able to adapt to the changes.
So while there's cause for concern, the study also shows that conservation efforts are working. Those efforts help to connect isolated populations and can even help maintain or even restore genetic diversity.
They were able to establish populations on islands and on a fenced reserve, and in doing that helped to increase the population size. And by using their genetic data, they were able to maintain genetic diversity as well.
Evan Noorani, CBS 8.
I learned a lot from those stories. I hope you did as well. That will do it for us here at CBS 8. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis, and thank you for joining us for this Earth 8 special.